urban versus rural. There are pros and cons to either or.
Correct.
I know for me personally, we purchased a home out in Surprise back in 2005 because we could get more bang for our buck.
Right.
At the time, we were living in Arrowhead. I really didn't want to move out to Surprise, but my wife was working for the builder at that time, and she came home with the plot plan. It was a 3,400 square foot home, and she showed me the price, and I was just like, what?
Yeah.
I can get that much house for that price? So that was like one of the pros, right, of moving out to the outlining areas.
Right.
Although my office was still in Arrowhead, so that commute kind of stunk. So one of the cons I know for living in the outlining areas, Tonopah, Buckeye, Goodyear, Chandler, Gilbert, Queen Creek, all those, is the growth pains, the growing pains.
Right.
Right? Because when we first moved out to Surprise, it was stop signs everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And during rush hour, those were not fun. But we got more bang for our buck. And plus, it was a lifestyle change, too. We moved out further. You're kind of closer to the mountains. Me being an avid runner and mountain biker, I was loving life. I still am. I'm still there. Here we are 19 years later, still in the same house. But it's a lifestyle I chose.
Well, I look at it too. It's like sometimes we've talked about first-time home buyers. Sometimes first-time home buyers that are just starting with a family. So young married couple with a kid. They're just starting a family, and they want like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, but they can't afford anything. So the further out you go, because of the distance from the city centers and the traffic and the no restaurants, no grocery stores. It's a 15-minute drive to go to a grocery store. But the housing prices are so inexpensive that if you're a first-time home buyer, you have limited amount you can use, you can definitely get more bang for your buck. Bigger square footage, maybe that extra bedroom, maybe the house with a pool.
Larger lot, too.
Larger lot. And I think the builders have done a good job over the last 20 years of building master plan communities on those far out. So they have the recreational facilities. That's kind of the nice thing, I think, with those outlying areas.
Being more urban, right?
Right.
We've helped many clients buy homes in the urban areas, and typically the price per square foot is significantly higher than if it were in an outlining area.
Right.
Why is that?
Mainly because the closer you are to, like, let's say the airport, we talked about restaurants, grocery stores. There's a lot of people that like to be in the Biltmore area. So if you're not familiar with Phoenix, that's like the 7th Street and Camelback. It's kind of central Phoenix. It's right in the middle, but people love it because you can get downtown to watch a Suns game or a Diamondbacks game. There's lots of higher end restaurants and mom and pop restaurants, and you don't have to drive as far to get your entertainment value. So there's a lot of people that like that. And then if you are one of those that has to drive to work, because our world's changed with remote and hybrid living, if you're one of those that have to drive to work and it's downtown, the commute time is much simpler. Since COVID, it's really changed that whole philosophy, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. Just over the last several years, I've had many clients purchase homes in Verrado and other parts like Estrella Village and North Surprise. These are outlining areas because they don't have to drive into work anymore.
Right.
Maybe some of them are going to a hybrid where they're only going in maybe once or twice a week, but now they can have that lifestyle that they want, the bigger lots near the mountains, that sort of thing, because of the COVID.
I think with Phoenix, one of the things is the way our freeway system's laid out with the 303, the 101, the 202 with those loops. You can be further out but have easy access to the freeway when you have to go in that 1 or 2 days a week. I've noticed in like the North Peoria area since the COVID and the remote working and the hybrid working, prices have really shot up for those houses in the Northwest Valley. Very because people are all of a sudden going, these people tend to be in more management positions and they maybe not have to travel as much. And so that demand has really increased. And where you've seen it kind of hurt in the urban areas with that is those condos and those retrofitted where they did the townhouses and things like that.
Converted them, yeah.
Yeah, where they converted the old apartments and hotels into these condos. They're great. I mean, they're updated. They look wonderful, but they're still updated old buildings.
Right. Right.
So you're seeing a little bit of abandonment in that. And I know when you talk to like restaurant owners and things like that, clients that I have that own restaurants in those more urban areas are going, wow, when COVID and kind of the years since, and just now 4 years after COVID, they're starting to see some of the people come back during the lunch hours. But a lot of them don't even do lunch hours anymore because nobody goes to work.
Well, because COVID, there was a big push, people buying in the outlying areas because they didn't have to go into the office. I mean, how many times in the last few years have we sold clients' homes up into the White Mountains, Flagstaff, Prescott, Sedona, outlining areas, Williams? It's been crazy.
Right.
There was a big push for that. So we kind of talked a little bit about some of the pros for both.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the negative side to being in the urban area?
I think the biggest thing is the congestion. Like it always amazes me when I go visit some of the clients that some of the older neighborhoods, and that's kind of the biggest issue is like with the outlying areas, if you're working from home, you have the newest fiber optic cable lines, you have the high speed internets, you have all the smart home wiring and all built in. You go more urban, they're generally older homes that are being retrofitted or they're being remodeled, or maybe you're buying it cheap enough that you want to do the remodel. Well, there's a lot of cost to factor in that. One, you're paying a higher price, but two, if you got galvanized pipes, that's just waiting to burst. You have older roofers. You have maybe shorter ceilings for some reason. Everybody's 6 foot, and you don't have the high-speed internet capacities that you need to work from home.
So you're saying that most likely if you're buying in the urban, it's, for one, it's going to cost you a little bit more. Two, there's going to be probably a significant amount of remodeling, upgrading, updating, right? And the home doesn't have the smart technologies as some of these newer homes, obviously. So those are some of the cons. What would be the negative side to purchasing out in the outlining areas, suburbs?
Depending on your lifestyle. And that's where it comes down to when you're helping somebody. What's their lifestyle? What do they like to do? Like you were saying with Tartesso, you're so far out there. There's not a movie theater. There's not grocery stores. You can't just run out and go out to eat.
Gas
stations, car wash, so if they're a car guy and they want to wash their cars, you kind of give up some of those really quick conveniences for better pricing on there. The other issue with urban is sometimes you have to be careful that if you don't buy in an area that is revitalizing, you can run into the rundown, the homeless, the extra crime areas, because the values just didn't hold. And now you've gone from what was once a good neighborhood into what people are going, geez, there's no way I'm going to pay money to live there.
Yeah, that's a good point. In my 20 years of being in the suburb of Surprise, I've only seen a few homeless people. And I go downtown Phoenix at least once a week for a ball game, concert, dining, whatever, and you're always running into homeless people every time you step in the downtown, urban areas. Whereas the outlining areas, you don't have that so much. Some areas more than others.
Right. And I think that's one of the great things of living in Phoenix. I've been here since '84, and you've been here longer than that. But when you go downtown, I think Phoenix, the city of Phoenix, has done a good job of revitalizing downtown.
Absolutely.
One of the cool things, you go to downtown Glendale, they've done a lot. We love Glendale Glitters, and you've seen where the downtown, they have concentrated some money to make them destination places. I was downtown Gilbert visiting my son, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a cool place. And then you're pulling up some of these houses, and you're like, oh, that was built in the 50s? I didn't even realize that. So the revitalization works good, but it always just costs more.
And that's another thing we didn't even discuss is being in the urban area. It comes down to a lifestyle, right?
Yes.
If you're someone, because I have a good friend, he wants to retire and he wants to live downtown. He's been living in the suburbs for 30 years. He wants to be downtown because he wants to be near the restaurants, the ballparks. He wants to be near the action. That's just a lifestyle he wants to choose. So that's what it's going to come down to, right?
Right. Lifestyle is the biggest choice. And, that's the thing. If you're a young family or you're a first-time home buyer, sometimes the size of the house, the number of bedrooms is more important than necessarily where it is for your lifestyle, because the home environment's a bigger deal than the person that hey, I don't have any kids at home, or, I'm more about entertaining, so I want to be closer to that.